All right, y'all, just a quick video on getting your car lower on a budget. We've been on this 91 Eclipse doing like the budget paint job and refresh to get this thing on the road and looking good at the same time. So we've talked about paint already, but I'm just give you a couple tips on getting your car lowered on a budget and doing it safely. All right, so right off the bat, had there been any coilover options for this car that was, quality, street friendly, and budget friendly, that would definitely be the way to go. Reason being, we could bolt those stock struts out and bolt the coilovers in, adjust them, and be ready to hit the street. But for this car, I can't remember all the options, all the mid-grade quality options that I would trust for a driver were starting at around $1,000 for this car, and just the budget and the value of the car really just wasn't worth it for what I'm doing with it. So we removed the stock strut housings and spring assemblies all around the car and threw on a set of Megan Racing lowering springs. I think it gives you around a 2-inch drop. It's a little bit staggered on the front and rear, but around a 2-inch drop all the way around. Still quality parts. The struts actually had a lot of life left in them, so they weren't just plumb like wore out shocks. So we just used the struts. And a safety tip, not really in the budget, but like I've got a shop I've used a few times and I've trusted them, and they do a reasonable job and don't charge an outrageous amount of money. Just swapping the springs over from the stock struts, the stock springs from the stock struts, and installing the lowering springs for me. And the reason being is a safety thing. Like, most reputable tire shops are going to have a wall-mounted spring compressor, specialized equipment that I don't have, and it's a lot safer for them to install those springs than me to like be in the floor wrestling around with a set of coil spring compressors that you can buy cheap or rent from a parts store or something. So I used to do that stuff when I was younger, but just another tip. They charged $60 to do that. So another tip, if you want to call around to your parts stores, ask them if they can do it. Some of them don't even want to fool with it for the money, and but almost instantly you'll know whether your tire shop that you call will even be competent in the work by the way they understand what you're asking them to do, and if they have a understanding and they can give you a price off the top of their head of what they know they're getting into. I have, without that knowledge, I have just dropped struts and springs off at a tire shop, and I could tell they didn't know really what was going on with it and what I was trying to accomplish. And then when I picked them up, they were done correctly, but they charged way too much money, and it's probably based on their time of trying to figure out, what they're doing. So you shouldn't have to pay any more than like an hour labor to get those springs swapped over, and that's the safest way to do it. So still quality parts, OE struts, quality springs versus like getting some super cheap coilovers that are just going to fail and clank around and not ride good. For this driver car, we want a good ride. So just a quick tip, springs were about $200, $60 to have them swapped over, and a couple hours of R&R. So go in here and paint the fender wells. I'm going to use some cheap bed liner and just spray those to get them, looking a little bit nicer. So everything that goes back to this car is going to be really nice looking. So I didn't take the time to like pressure wash the struts and paint them and stuff. I do that on some of these vehicles, but you know, this is going to see some road time, and you'll never see them up in the car anyway. So all right, well, just a quick update on this. It's actually not even going back together today, but the end of the week, I think it's going to rain for a few days. So until then, we want to focus on body work. I've got this C10 tailgate to do the body work on and finish sanding this bed down, do a bit more body work on it, and we've got some epoxy primer to go on it today. So that's what's going on today. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and you know, follow the channel if you want to continue progress, follow progress, and see how these things turn out.